And since we don't have quorum, I don't think I can call the meeting officially to order, but hello, good morning. Happy that you are all here. I will go ahead and just go down our agenda for the things that we can speak about. I can give the chair's report. So the big discussion topic in all of the MDP communications is definitely redistricting. We've got a lot of discussion about obviously petitioning for Whitmer, which is super important. They are sending along a weekly email with communication from the MDP about what's going on in our state and federal Senate and Congress, obviously. The MICRC was supposed to meet this week, but they canceled their meeting on Tuesday. The important thing is for us, they've got several meetings local to us. They've got one in Grand Rapids on the 22nd. I've got more information about that later at the end of this slide deck that I've got. I'm just reading my notes right now. So the big concern that everybody's talking about, the chair's call was also on Tuesday, and most of the discussion revolved around redistricting. The big discussion right now is that these maps really just don't look great. And we're trying to figure out why that is, because the committee is pretty apportioned and we just really don't know where they're going to go next. But I know that Joey is here with us to talk about that a little bit more. It's the only thing that we've got on our new business today. But yeah, the important thing is we have, let's see, October 18th, which is this upcoming Monday. They have a meeting at the Grand Plaza Hotel in Grand Rapids. They have a meeting from 1 to 3:30 and 5 to 8. There's also a meeting on October 21st at Lansing Center in Lansing, Michigan. This is from their website, which I also have a link to later, pardon me, in the presentation. They keep their website pretty up to date, so you can always go there to see what's going on. I haven't heard much from anyone else as far as a chair's report. So I did not receive a report from Ken Wilcutt in regards to our financial situation, but I'm assuming based on everything we had discussed previously, they are still working on getting our reports into the FEC. So I'm assuming that our financials have not changed since our last committee meeting. Because as far as I'm aware, we are not spending money and we are probably earning money through donations. But it probably hasn't changed in a significant amount since our last report. So Rick, since you're here, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Can I ask you, and Joey, you're here too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so was the Monday, October 18th meeting in GR was canceled, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
that's correct. They moved it to Friday the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I
It was
thought.
a last minute change last week because they wanted to submit maps a little later and they needed more time to upload them. So they moved the meeting to the 22nd, and it's now at the it is at the DeVos place still now. It was at the Amway before. It's now at the DeVos place, but
Okay. All
the
right.
22nd instead of the 18th.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. I'm going to write that down.
Thanks, Joey.
And that's at DeVos, you said, not at Amway Grand.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. And then Joey, you said you might be able to send out some more additional information on that meeting too. Is that right?
Yeah, talking points and everything like that anybody needs, I'm happy to supply. Whenever you guys are ready for me to chat about redistricting, I can go into more detail too, of course.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you, Eleanor. All right, so just some update from Candidate Recruitment Campaigns Committee. Some of the things that have happened that have been the activity that's gone on since the last time we met. I had a phone conversation with George Franklin back on September the 21st. Learned a lot during that phone call. If you're not familiar with George, he was the candidate that ran. He ran in the primary back in 2018. Here in the 6th, he's an author. He has claimed now that he's kind of retired from politics. If you've not had an opportunity to read his book, So You Think You Want to Run for Congress, I encourage you to do so. It's a fast, quick, easy read. When I started doing a little research on George, I went on the website. He is an author. He's written 3 books. So I got it and I read it and I learned a lot. So if you've not had an opportunity to read that, I encourage you to do that. We also had an opportunity, when I say we, myself, Joey, who's on the meeting today, and Chalkway Pitchford, along with Rayante Bell, who is a commissioner, city commissioner from St. Joe, had an opportunity to meet with Deshauna. She just looks like she just left the meeting. I was going to give her an opportunity to say hello to everybody again. She is considering a possible run for Congress here in the 6th. Again, depending on the way the new lines are drawn and that sort of thing. I had a great conversation with John Hoadley yesterday. He's our most, as you all know, he's our most recent Democrat that ran for Congress here back in November. He is uncertain as to about running again. And one of the things he shared with me is, as everybody, we're looking at the way the new maps are going to be drawn. And I'll let Joey talk about that a little bit more. And then I'm going to just give everybody an update. We had our candidate recruitment campaigns committee meeting this morning. Myself, Joey Andrews from Berrien County. We had Helen Goings from Allegan, and Naomi was able to join us for the early meeting from Cass. Had a great conversation, just a couple of things to highlight. Number one, Joey already mentioned it a little bit, that Joey Andrews is available to provide talking points for all counties when it comes to the redistricting commission. Second thing I wanted to share is that we discussed a concern about the current maps for redistricting in regards to the way that the proposed new congressional district 8 would be drawn, which would include Southeast Berrien County, a chunk of Southeast Berrien County, all the way over to Monroe. So it'd be basically the entire southern border of the state of Michigan. So we discussed that a little bit. We didn't get into too much detail, but we had a conversation about that. And then we talked, had a brief conversation about the possibility of the proposed, one of the maps has a new 4th congressional district, which would include Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids. And again, I'll let Joey address those a little bit more in detail when we get to that point of the meeting. And then the other discussion topic that I wanted to share that we talked about this morning was the fact that county leaders, Helen and Naomi, myself included, talking about it's difficult to identify candidates or getting people to run right now. And I believe it was Naomi that mentioned in Cass, they're even having difficulty, and maybe Helen did too, having a difficulty finding people to even put up yard signs out of fear because of the current political climate. And so we've added that last point that I shared with you. We've added that to our next meeting for new business. For, like I said, as a topic about how we can maybe work better together to make that happen. And then in terms of campaign strategies, we're going to talk about that. I've had several conversations with Joey about the progress of the proposed maps and how they might impact us, everything from splitting the current 6th into a new CD9 and a new CD8. And how that would even go in terms of reorganizing the party, because if that happens, then we're going to have to reorganize new means of communication and that sort of thing. And then the other couple other things I wanted to share with you that I've been working on. Number one is an outreach effort on behalf of the 6 congressional districts in terms of campaign strategies. Outreach to labor. The organization I know best is the Michigan Education Association, having been a retired teacher and MEA member for 30 years. I'm now a part of the MEA retired chapter in Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo area retired chapter. Millie Lambert is the chair of that group. And so that's another opportunity to have conversation and discussion. But I have a meeting set up with a representative from the MEA in November. Her name is Michelle Harrison. She's the Southern Zone Director here in Southwest Michigan. We had a phone call back earlier in October, and then we have a November 10th meeting set up where I'm going to meet with Michelle and Region 5 UniServe directors. Basically, MEA Region 5 is Southwest Michigan, and talk about how we can in Southwest Michigan find a way to communicate maybe with the MEA a little bit better in all the way to being involved. Michigan Education Association have what they call screening and recommendations committees. You may be familiar with that, and MEA retired members are eligible to serve on those committees. And what it does is that the MEA will get their leaders, local leaders in that area or region together to meet with candidates and then eventually make recommendations for the MEA members as to which direction to vote. So I'm trying to work on that a little bit as well. And then the last bit of information in terms of campaign strategies is has to do with fundraising. Every single person that I've had a conversation with since being in this position has talked about the importance of fundraising. And not only raising funds, but being strategic as to how we allocate funds within the 6th Congressional District, as well as within the counties, right, within the 6th. Not only how to allocate those funds, but also when to allocate the funds, so that we have a better understanding in terms of candidate support. You all probably already know, but people can donate, have maximum donation levels for a primary election, and then after the primary is over, everything kind of resets, and you can start the maximum donations kind of reset at that point. And so trying to find a way to be strategic with how and when funds are allocated, I think is something to think about as well. And then the last thing I want to share is that in terms of fundraising, trying to identify large donors here further southwest. From my understanding, maybe Kalamazoo has a little better, the Kalamazoo County Party has a little better handle on that. I got the information, I think, from Eleanor about their fundraiser that they have coming up. Like it's pretty major in terms of the amounts that they are asking for in terms of tickets, right, to attend a fundraiser. And so maybe finding a way in further west, southwest, or in the different counties to maybe utilize what they're doing in Kalamazoo and finding a way to coordinate and learn from that group as to how we can in the other counties find a way to raise more funds, and then again find ways to get that money to candidates. And I think that's about it. That's all that I have. Eleanor, I can either forward you my report, my full report, or I can email that to our secretary, recording secretary as well, if that would be appropriate. Because I don't see him on the meeting today. I know Mike's our corresponding secretary, but should I do that, or is there a place to put information?
Yeah, I mean, you can CC it to both of us. That's perfectly fine, because it can be like what is it, an appendix on our notes.
Okay, right. Yeah, I can include that. And what's because like I said, I don't see him here today. The name of our
Nate.
I'm sorry.
I can send you, his name is Nate.
Nate, right?
Nate Smith Manley, yes.
Yeah. I'll copy both of you on that then. Thanks.
Perfect.
That's all that I have.
Thank you so much. Did anybody have any questions for Rick before we go on? No? Okay. I see that Ken has joined us. Ken, I assumed that nothing had changed with our financials since the last time, but if you have anything to add, please.
All right. Yeah, we're pretty stable with our finances. We're not really growing and we're not really spending. So I guess on both ends, that's kind of positive. So there were some questions that you guys asked me to do as far as finding out how we can put closure to this FEC reporting and stuff like that. I went to the expert. I went to Heather Ricketts, and we had a pretty good conversation. And I asked her, one of the questions was, is anybody in any other congressional districts that are in the same boat we are? She says, absolutely not. We are unique that we've got ourselves in the situation we're in. And I says, is there any way that we can jumpstart? Can we get ahead? And she said, no, we just have to wait. We have to wait for the FCC to give the authorization to recreate our file. The communication that I had with her, and I can't remember if I reported on this at the last one, but there were the staffing that didn't get put back in under the Trump administration, that they are slowly restaffing, and they're quite behind the 8 ball themselves. So it's just a wait and see. I think in my gut that, I mean, we've did nothing inappropriate other than not file when we were supposed to. But I think it's easy to, once we get our documentation around and prove to them that we did nothing malicious or of that nature. So I think we're going to be fine. But yeah, it's a little frustrating when you're waiting on the government to allow you to move forward when you know you have to do something. So that's it in a nutshell, guys.
Thanks, Ken. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments for Ken? Rick.
Yeah, just real quick. So this is a question that Joey and I talked about a little bit, but if, let's say that the new maps, the way that they're withdrawn, the way that they're drawn, if it does create a new CD8 and a new CD9, and the 6th congressional will be somewhere else in the state, at that point, everybody will have to start over anyway, right? Eleanor, have you had that conversation with the party at all?
No, and that is a really great question. And surprisingly, no one brought it up on the chair's call, which we should probably do sooner rather than later, especially as they're about to finalize these maps in what, December, January?
Yeah.
And
that was just a question. And I asked Joey about it, and he might be able to talk about it a little bit more when we get down into new business, but because it would be like a reset, I would imagine. And I would have to imagine that the state party would have to be planning for that. But I don't know. I mean, that's something I don't know. And the reason that I brought it up now is that if that were to happen, then I don't know if they would just dissolve everybody and it would be a start over or they would just I don't know. So I just wanted to bring that up since this meeting's being recorded and we're having that conversation, and maybe that's a conversation or a topic, an issue that we can bring to the state party, or I can bring it up to Jamario as well.
hey, Ken, I see your hand.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to get out from underneath our issue of reporting, honestly. So yeah, let's cross our fingers and we get a new number and we can start fresh and clean.
But I'll let Joey address if we would be crossing our fingers for new numbers. But anyway, we get. But Ken, I agree with you. I wonder if that would kind of be the best in terms of for the situation the CD6 is in right now. And I want to thank you, Ken, for your work on this. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question in general, because, changing numbers is one thing, but changing counties, combining counties that currently are part of a different district, maybe that's where their chair lives. If Kalamazoo breaks off from all of our other counties, but, I live in Kalamazoo County, the rest of you are in the rest of the district.
Right.
What happens that I have not personally heard any communication from the MDP about special elections or how the districts are supposed to handle forming new leadership, because I'm assuming we will have to have new leadership elections, new chairs, new boards, all of this will have to be reelected. And I have not heard anything about the process for that. How I would assume when it happens that in the best case scenario, the MDP would share contact information of the chairs to the other chairs, because at the moment we have to go through Haley. They don't provide us a list of everyone's mailing addresses or phone numbers or anything like that. Okay. And we would just sort of coordinate hey, we're kind of the new district now. Do you want to work together?
And the Republicans are going to be in the same situation, right? Yeah. Right. So it was just interesting. I don't know if there would be, can't imagine there would be a grace period, right? Because where would candidates be getting funds? Because you're running in a district. I don't know. I'll be quiet now, but that was just I've had that thought for a while, but.
No, it's a very logical thought. And it's just that the timing is extremely unfortunate because of the proximity to the elections in 2022. We are not going to have time. A grace period is sort of something that we would have to give to ourselves. Sure, we can take as much time as we need or we want, but it's just going to be doing our candidates and the people that we serve, that we're providing these candidates to, a disservice if we drag our feet. So yeah, no one has said anything about that or asked that question. I should probably send an email to Haley and be like, hey, Haley, this is going to happen. And we know it's going to happen either one way or the other. I mean, the first map that I saw, we were getting some of the people north of us, so CD2, I think, and it's changed. It's completely like they're all over the place now. It's difficult to tell where we're going to be going or who we would need to be working with. So I have not heard anything from the MVP.
Thank you.
Okay, so next thing is our county reports. And Marlene has asked to go first because of time. So Marlene, please give us your
Okay.
report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
Well, I was pushed here. No, not really. It's my pleasure. Okay, here's a couple of things that we've been doing. Or Naomi is, she's on the county appointment committee to vote on a map, for the county. And the map so far, she says, that's been created is not good. There's no competitive districts for the Board of Commissioners. And it also dilutes the impact of minority voting in the district. The CAS officers are considering their options. And we've also been very active in the community events in Edwardsburg and Dowagiac. What we've been doing is kind of showing them how good Democrats are. We're nice people. And we're doing, activities with them in the Fall Fest. And we've had really good responses. People don't come up and say bad things to us. They really seem to be responsive to the things. In Dowagiac, though, we kind of, made it sweetened the pot because we did 40 pumpkins with kids. We helped them carve them, and everybody thought it was the greatest thing ever. So that worked out good. And we've closed the CAS office. Now we're only in Dowagiac. We consolidate them, and everything seems to be going, pretty good. Some of the people in the, the west side of the county's got to get used to coming to Dowagiac, etc. But it's doing good. And we're doing a postcard to like the strong Dems in Cass County. We're planning on doing 2,000 altogether. We're starting out with 500, and we're doing it with connection with the rural caucus. And then after we send these out, we're gonna follow up with phone calls to these people, about voting and etc. And we're also planning on community canvassing to collect signatures for Governor Whitmer. And we did that at the Dowagiac Fall Fest too, and other places. And also they're always there at the headquarters in Dowagiac, so people can just come in and sign up. And like you said, we're trying to build a bench of candidates for local offices, and we're having a little trouble. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Marlene? All right, well, thank you very much, Marlene, for your report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we're probably just going to jump around counties considering who is here and who is not. Annie, I see you if you would like to go next.
Thank you. What the biggest news we have is that the Van Buren County Reapportionment Commission completed the map and has submitted it onto the state. And the big success was that we were able to unanimously agree on a map that saved Gail Patterson Gladney's district. And she is the only Democrat on the county commission. So that was a huge achievement. We had a day of collecting signatures for Gretchen Whitmer's petition, and we actually had a great turnout. We had about 12 people. So that was good for Van Buren County. And we are also participating in the postcard project from the Rural Democratic Caucus. And that is someone else is handling it. So that is magically being sent out to 400 Democrats across the county. So we're excited about the progress we're making. Thanks to Rick Hatterman, we have a new finance committee that is getting organized so we can raise more money. And we continue to look for candidates for our county commission seats and for state offices too, as we watch the new districts being drawn. So I think that's about it. Rick, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead if you want to add anything. I think we're good.
Excellent. Thank you for your report. Did anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns for Annie in Van Buren County? All righty. I don't see anybody. Is anybody here from Allegan that wants to give a report? I don't see anybody. And Amy said she wasn't going to be here from Berrien. And I don't see Mariah either.
I can give a quick Berrien update if
Sure, thanks,
if that's
Joey.
okay.
Absolutely.
So I think two things in Berrien. We adopted our county apportionment map just 2 weeks ago. We had a pretty good outcome in Berrien. Of the 4 maps the commission was considering, we got the second best for the Democrats out of the group, and we avoided the most gerrymandered of the bunch, thankfully. So it looks like we've got an opportunity to compete in an additional 2 county commission races here. Berrien has 3 Democrats on the county board out of 12 commissioners now. So we're looking at potential of getting up to 5 on the board, which would be pretty exciting, all things considered. So that was some really good news. And then yesterday, Berrien County hosted its inaugural labor breakfast, which was fairly well attended. Ken Wilcutt was there, and I think we had a pretty good time overall, all of us. So looking forward to potentially doing that again next year, maybe in the spring, something like that. I think that is about it for the moment on our end.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns?
I got a
for
question.
Joey? Sure.
Yeah, real quick. Joey, with that labor breakfast, is that information that you could share out with everybody as to how you went about organizing it and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I actually helped plan it, so would be happy to talk with anybody about it who might be interested in hosting one as well.
Cool, good. And then Eleanor, if you'd like, everybody's talking about reapportionment in the county. Helen Goings is the Allegan rep to the Candidate Recruitment Campaigns Committee. If I could just give a brief update from Allegan, would that be all right? So the first words that came out of Helen's mouth this morning when she's talking was reapportionment was, it's been a brutal fight in Allegan County. They've gone from 7 commissioners down to 5 commissioners. She said that the total population, it's 120,000 in Allegan County total population. And but that committee voted to go from 7 to 5. Very partisan new map in regards to Republican partisanship. And she said they're considering a legal battle in Allegan County if they can, in terms of fighting the new maps that have been drawn. So that's all the information that I have. We talked about it a little bit this morning, but I wanted to share that as well.
So it would reduce the county commission in Allegan from 7 people to 5.
Yes, that's what they've already done that and sent those maps.
Wow.
So
I
this-
know that Kalamazoo also did something. I think that they lowered their county commission from 11 to 9. I think that that's what I read. So that seems to be a trend. Annie. Mhm.
I just want to thank Joey Andrews for all his assistance with the counties for apportionment, because being on the apportionment commission, I'm not exaggerating, was the most stressful and hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So it, Van Buren County had a great commission, and it went very smoothly, but I know it's not that way for every county. So I just want to thank Joey a lot for that.
And if I could, I want to give Annie credit for standing up and leading that committee and at least maintaining what we have, right, Annie? I mean, in terms of that first district in particular, because I know that you did work very, very hard, and it is recognized and greatly appreciated. So thank you to Annie for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your effort on this. I know that it's confusing and tough, and I don't think in our lifetime we've ever had to deal with this. So it's all new and crazy. And especially given the current political climate, I can imagine it's extremely heated discussions on what's right, what's wrong. Ken, I see your hand.
Yes, I'll just touch a little bit on Kalamazoo. Yes, the county commission went from 9 to 7. Those maps I haven't seen them yet, but that is true. It's a little interesting. It's the reverse of what everybody else is feeling throughout the counties, where you're just trying to maintain. And there's a lot of, I don't know, I guess, disgruntled elected officials at this point in time, just be the easiest way to say it. But they did went from 9 to 7 in Kalamazoo. And on the bright side, next Saturday evening in Comstock, Nico's Landing, Kalamazoo Dems will be holding their primary fundraiser, the Brown Todd Whoopi event. We still have plenty of tickets available for those who would like to attend and rub elbows with state and Senate reps and whoever else will be there. And then we'll be awarding some very gracious people that did some good things for the Democratic Party over the years. So that's just a snippet.
Yeah, I've attended that event in previous years, and it's a lot of fun. I unfortunately cannot attend this year, but Mike, I see your hand.
I have added the comment link and the meeting dates link into our chat, and I put all the meeting dates into our calendar.
Thank you for that. But yeah, they seem to enjoy canceling their meetings at the very last minute, because they canceled 2 this week, it sounds like, which is kind of unfortunate for people who may have been like, I'll attend, and taken time off of work, and now they can't go, which is unfortunate. Okay, so we've discussed Allegan in brief. We've got Cass, Van Buren, Berrien. Nobody's here from Berrien. Anybody here from Berrien?
That was me.
knows anything?
I did Berrien.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Then I wrote it down wrong. Yes, you did. St. Joseph. Anybody here from St. Joseph? No. I mean, last I heard from Kathy, they were still sort of in the process of restructuring all of their stuff, so they may not have that many members at the moment. I'll check in with everyone after this meeting anyway, just to see what's going on. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much all of our counties. Don't see anybody here from the state party. But like I said, based on what we're discussing in the chair's calls and what I'm receiving in communications weekly from the MDP, it's mainly to do with redistricting. I know that they would want me to mention to all of you, this is very important, there's a petition out in circulation now, and we are marketing, we're running basically a marketing campaign against that petition, because it sounds really great, but it's really, really bad. So the decline to sign campaign you may have seen from the MDP social media is in direct opposition to the Republican. I mean, it's not really Republican, it's just people trying to unlock Michigan, go against health reform for, COVID, and basically take the power out of our legislature's hands for medical and health emergencies like the one that we're currently in. The important thing to note is that the petition language sounds really promising, but is really, really not great. Another thing that is going on in the legislature, which is really upsetting, is they tried to get that petition about the voter suppression. They tried to get a petition approved for voter suppression. And I'm pretty sure that it was denied, but our legislators, Republican legislators at least, just basically took the petition language, put it into a bill and sent it up to the legislature at the very last minute with like no review and tried to get it passed that way. So they're desperate. They're not doing very good work and they're trying to undermine the will of the voters, and it's very scary. So if you see people out petitioning, make sure that you read what it is they're asking you to sign, inform others if you notice that it's one of these really nefarious petitions going out. I don't have it right in front of me, but the MDP actually does have a contact that you can reach out to if you see people petitioning out with these petitions. They're trying to gather as much information about where that's showing up in the state. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Mike just posted a link in the comments or in the chat from the Bridge, Michigan about that. So you can read all up about that.
It also has links on that article to some of that legislation you were talking about.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, so that's basically what the MDP has been focusing on the last couple of weeks, was watching that initial petition, the legislator that's trying to get around the petition, and then just keep an eye out for people out petitioning. Always make sure that you're reading what you're signing. Don't just sign willy-nilly, because, you know, not all petitions are created equal. That being said, I know that many of you are out petitioning for Whitmer, which is awesome. So keep doing that. What else do we have? I don't believe we had any unfinished business. The only new business that I had was just making sure that we were all aware of the upcoming redistricting committee meetings, which you can find on their website, which Mike has already posted a link to in the chat. That October 18th meeting that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting has been rescheduled to October 22nd. That's DeVos Place in Grand Rapids. If you can't make that one, there is still the one in Lansing. I know that's a little further afield, but if you can make one of these, it's probably the closest ones to our location, and they always keep their website up to date. So thank you, Mike, for adding those to our calendar as well. Very thankful for you. That really is all of the business that we had. So that brings us to announcements in good and welfare. Annie.
Who has talking points for the redistricting public hearings?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you just email a document to me that lists the talking points?
Do you want the ones that are relevant to Van Buren, or are you looking for wider? Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I can get you those for sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
Rick has them too, by the way.
Sorry. Yeah, Eleanor, can we address new business though and have Joey talk about redistricting a little bit?
Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to add, Joey? Please go ahead.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, just real quick. I really would encourage everybody to try to make a plan to get to that Grand Rapids hearing on the 22nd, especially because they canceled the Kalamazoo one, and this is the only one in West Michigan that we have. We're fairly sure all these hearings are going to be packed to the brim, so getting as many people from Southwest Michigan to this one in Grand Rapids is going to be the best way to get voices heard. For everybody who's been, paying attention to this process, and those of you maybe who haven't been paying as close attention, the maps that have been proposed are not the best. The House and the Senate maps, State House and State Senate, that is, both have about a 5 to 6 Republican bias to them on the collaborative maps. There are some individual maps that some of the commissioners have been proposing that are somewhat better, but still very little that, would meet anybody's definition, I think, of partisan fair or, maps where the party that gets the most votes wins the most seats. So for sure, it's important that everybody gets testimony into the commission, reminding them that the reason we voted for this commission to exist was to get out from under a Republican gerrymander, not for them to just create a different kind of Republican gerrymander. And so I think that's among the most important things we can be saying to them. Aside from that, we do have talking points prepared, like I mentioned, for every part of the state to help guide the commission towards maps that are more fair in general. In our neck of the woods, there's a couple of very specific things that we can talk about. We got a Lakeshore House district that we want to, compliment them for creating. And I think that, it's probably very important that we encourage them to look at unpacking the city of Kalamazoo. As some of you might remember, the Kalamazoo district, the current 60th was part of one of the lawsuits a couple of years ago to try to ungerrymander the Michigan House. And it was, listed as being one of the Democratic PACs in the state. So that's another point that people in Kalamazoo can help us make, is that, splitting the city of Kalamazoo into multiple districts would unpack the population and create more fair elections, more competitive elections. So that's another really important one. And the Senate map over here is kind of messy at the moment. So, also getting those Senate districts adjusted to be a little bit more reasonable. If you've looked at the Senate map, you've probably seen the crazy district that runs from like southern Grand Rapids all the way down to Benton Harbor, for instance. It cuts through like 4 counties. That's an example of things that need to change as well. So plenty of talking points for anybody from any part of the region to be giving at this point to get better maps on the board. And I've got those talking points so I can help set up anybody who wants to give testimony in person or on Zoom. Hand up, it looks like.
See, Rick.
Yeah, Joy, I was just gonna wait till you're done and then I was gonna say something.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I guess I should mention, so while on our end at the AFL-CIO, we're not taking a side on congressional maps, there are congressional maps proposed. There's 2 different draws that are up there for our region, one that would put Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids together, and then one that is a somewhat more traditional 6th district map but has Cass and St. Joseph counties removed along with part of Berrien, and instead adds Holland and Berry County. As far as like competitiveness goes, that district would be, I think, slightly more competitive than the existing 6th, which is already fairly competitive. So, there's definitely some good options on the congressional side as well, but more just mentioning that than anything else. The House and the Senate maps are kind of the really critical fights, because if we haven't had a Democratic trifecta in Michigan since 1982. And so getting fair maps for House and Senate is a pretty enormous opportunity. If anybody has any questions, I'm obviously happy to answer them.
I was just gonna, if I could, add, Joey, how, because you mentioned in person and Zoom, right? Doing commentary or during public comments. How valuable do you think it is to leave those red and green dots on the maps in terms of commentary on the website?
Yeah, that's important too. And that's something that I would like very strongly encourage everyone here to consider doing, is they have a new comment system where you can leave a comment directly on a map. We've basically narrowed down to which of the maps is sort of their like, I don't want to say best map, the least bad of their maps and the most bad of their maps. And so we're encouraging people to leave like the red dot negative comments on the worst of the maps to hopefully push them away from it, and the like green and yellow dots on the less bad map to help push them in that direction. But it's a very easy thing to do, leaving those comments, and you can very easily leave multiple comments on a map at this point, since we're kind of past the community of interest part of this and now into the like, how do we make these maps better part of this. So I would very, very heavily encourage everybody to go and leave comments on the map. And again, I'm happy to, supply links to the maps along with any relevant talking points you're interested in.
Joey, could you send me just like a brief bullet points of how to do that, and I can include it in these notes when I send them out?
Yeah, I can definitely do that this afternoon for sure.
That would be great. And it's very easy to do. And even, I mean, when you go in, you can leave a comment. There's 3 different, Joey, and you can help me out with this. There's 3 different buttons. There's dislike, comment, and like. You can simply click on the green, the like, and say, hey, HD 87, the new HD 87 looks great. Thank you for considering community of interest, and hit submit. and then a green dot will appear. And Joey, I don't know how often they take those old comments down. I imagine they have to maybe even do it on a daily basis because there's a ton of them in Southeast Michigan, as if you look at the map, right, in terms of the green and red dots. But I think if we could get, depending on the talking points that Joey has, just going in and putting in one of those red or green dots, I think it would go a long way. But Joey, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But
Yeah, I agree. We've kind of noticed the commissioners seem to have like some kind of psychological response to the dot colors. And like you said, in Southeast Michigan, a ton of red dots got left in the Ann Arbor area saying, unpack Washtenaw County, like it's ridiculous to have us all packed together. And there's probably 100 little red dots all clustered around Ann Arbor. And within a couple of days of that, the commissioners started throwing maps in the portal that split Ann Arbor into multiple House and Senate districts. So I do think that those dots have an impact on them. So yeah, very valuable to get those comments on the map.
in Eleanor, when you send that information out, if you can strongly encourage all county chairs to leave comments, and Joyce put together some great talking points, but if we can get as many people as we can get to leave dots, so to speak, right? And then also either attend via Zoom or in person, that Grand Rapids meeting, I think is important.
Mhm. Yeah, we can definitely post that on our Facebook page as well from the district level. So excellent. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, any further questions for Joey, RE redistricting, or anyone on any of the topics that we've discussed today?
Hey, Rick, Joey, where is the dot thing? I didn't see that on the comment page.
There's a button on the front page of the MICRC page that takes you to the draft maps. I think it even says view the maps or something like that. And
MICRC draft plans, and it's got apple, birch, juniper, maple, that one?
That's exactly it. Yeah, they've
So
named
how do you put a dot on it?
So once you open up the map, there's a button in the top right corner that says add comment, and you click that, and then you basically place the comment in. You can either select a district from the list, or you can just click on the map and place your comment, and then you just enter in all your information, and then select whether it's a like, dislike, or an opinion, which is the yellow dot, and that'll color the dot on the map and then leave all the stuff.
Yeah, the only maps that I'm seeing are Excel downloads, which definitely are not the right ones.
Mike, did you find it?
No.
Okay, so did everybody get the MDP email that has the 3 maps listed for Senate, House, and Congress? Because if you click on that link, it takes you directly to the map. It takes a second to load, and then it shows everything. So
Where's that link again?
That's the way that I did it. The MDP sent out in their redistricting update. I was gonna see if I could find it here real quick.
Yeah, I'll send direct links to the good and bad maps too, to simplify this as well, because there's more maps in their mapping list than just the collaborative ones. And so we tend to think it's better if we focus all the comments on 1 or 2 maps to increase the density of dots than have them spread out a little bit too much. So
Joey, do you want to go ahead and do that? I don't want to confuse things, but if you can do that, that'd be great.
yeah, I'll send Eleanor the email with all the maps in it, and then she can send them around to everybody who wants them or needs them.
All right.
Yeah, I found a map, one of the proposed congressional district maps. Wow, this is all over the place.
It's right. The MDP email was real easy to and simple. So I'll forward that to you too, Eleanor, when we're done with our meeting. And I'll send it, Mike, I'll send it to you too. Were you able to get in, Mike?
No, I'm trying to find the link.
Okay, I'll email that out to you here in a minute. And like I said, you just click on the link and boom, up comes, and I walked somebody through it yesterday here in South Haven. And so it's pretty, it's much easier that way. So rather than trying to, at least for me, I had trouble like navigating the MICRC website and even to find it that way.
Yeah,
and
it
so
sucks.
yeah, that's so I'll send that. I'll send that out, or I'll email that to you, Mike, and then I'll email it to you as well, Eleanor.
I'm trying to find it so I can get it in our record here.
Yeah, so if you get, so I can do it while everybody else is we finish up the meeting here a little bit as well. But what I was gonna share is that the email that I got was from, oh, shoot, let me see if I can find it real quick. Hang on, where is it? Come on, where are you? Oh, here it is. Emily Boyer. Do you
Yeah.
get messages from Emily?
Not recently.
Yeah, so they do a redistricting update 10 from October the 11th. And that email has the most up-to-date information from this week. And it lists 3 state Senate, 3 state House, and 3 congressional maps. And if you click on that map, it takes you directly to the site, and then the add comment stuff and everything is right there so you can see it. But
I just
Also-
forwarded it to everybody.
did you get that email, Eleanor?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
the key was Emily's name. Thank you.
Okay, yep, there you go. That's all right. I just wanted to make sure that was, because I found that very, it made it a lot easier to do that. So
Yeah, so she sent that to me. Well, that's from September. That's not gonna work.
yeah, I've got one from October or from Monday. It just came out on Monday. So I can,
Oh, that Excel spreadsheet has links to the maps that you do the dots on.
Yeah, here we go. 5 days ago. This is the one that I should send. Sorry,
Yeah.
y'all.
if you do that one, then that will get, that's, like I said, that's pretty easy. So
Yeah, there's a bunch of, yeah, cherry, spruce, elm, pine, beech, oak, juniper, birch, maple, maple. Yeah. Yep.
They're all tree names. That was the naming convention that the commission settled on. So
It works. Yeah, some of these districts are weird. Like the one that I just pulled up, it's Kalamazoo County with Berry and I think Branch in District 4. So that would be weird.
You're
And then
looking at
all
this-
of y'all unfortunately are gone.
are you looking at the CD?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
isn't
there's a
labeled.
couple of real oddball ones for sure. The collaborative maps on the congressional side are mostly not bad, even if I personally dislike the Grand Rapids to Kalamazoo one. Most of the maps aren't like totally insane, but there are some really wild ones in there from some of the commissioners.
Goodness.
It's just interesting to go. I thought just interesting to go in and look around too. So
I'm surprised at how much they changed between revisions too. Like that first one that we saw, I think where we were the 9th, was completely unexpected based on what everyone had been talking about and the initiatives that we had been talking about, like losing Allegan and gaining Berry, and it was completely opposite of that. And the other few that I've seen, like putting Kalamazoo in with only 2 other counties, it's so strange. Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, thanks everyone for this discussion. Did anybody else have anything to add? Rick?
yeah, I just wanted to, Deshauna is back on the meeting. And I mentioned earlier in my report, so I was just gonna offer her an opportunity to say hello and to offer anything else if she'd like to. So Deshauna, are you still there?
I am. Good morning.
Did you want to share anything at all?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I did have an opportunity to meet with Rick, and I did want to formally express that I am extremely interested in being considered as a congressional candidate. I do want to give you guys a little bit of information about myself. So I was recently selected as the class of 2021, 40 under 40 for Moody on the Market. I'm currently the president of the Board of Education. I was selected in January, and then last year I was appointed to the board and also nominated as its secretary in the same meeting. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before. I currently am employed with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for Berrien County as an assistance payment supervisor. I have multiple responsibilities there. I supervise and train eligibility specialists on benefit determinations, so I service families and individuals in need. I do hearing determinations, so I am the individual that receives client concerns or complaints regarding benefit determinations. And if I'm unable to resolve those in office, I represent the county in the legislative hearing with Lansing. I also am over diversity, equity, and inclusion as a co-champion for Berrien County, And then lastly, I supervise the call center, which we call the client connection queue. So essentially what I do for Berrien County is ensure equitable service delivery in those multiple ways. Working in that position, I'm required to analyze state policy and utilize and operationalize that into service delivery for clients. So knowing government and state policy is something I can do in my sleep. I majored in English, so writing laws and propositions is something that I can also do in my sleep. And I minored in communication, so I'm extremely comfortable communicating in front of small or large amounts of individuals. I've worked in various sectors with families and children. I've supervised a domestic violence shelter, the YWCA of Kalamazoo. Also worked briefly as an assistant supervisor for the Berrien County Juvenile Center. I have served as an intern for Let's Talk About It Girls Home, which is a foster care home. Worked for the ARC Shelter for Youth in Crisis, and also as a assistant, like a tutor in Kalamazoo communities and schools. I went to Western Michigan University, so I have network connections there. And I've also initiated my master's at Western Michigan University, but I haven't finalized my degree. So I'm only 35, but I kind of hit the ground running immediately after graduating from school, and just decided that I wanted to try to utilize the strengths that I have to help families in need as much as I can. And so where I am in my career is that I've realized that although I can work in these various factors and in these organizations in the community to service individuals, I'm limited by the policies because the laws define what service provision looks like. And so I'm at the point where I've realized that I need to get above the laws and the policies so that I can directly impact service provision. And I see the congressional seat as my best opportunity to do so. And so I know that I've primarily, and of course I'm a trustee for our committee as well. And I know primarily I sit in the meetings and I'm silent, but as you can see, I'm not quiet at all. I'm just the type of person that I don't speak just to be heard. And so what I've done is come in and sat and listened and learned about what's important to our district. And so I am committed to working with each of the counties to ensure that I understand the needs of those individual counties, and I'm prepared to move our congressional district forward and flip the seat red in this upcoming year. So hopefully I'm able to convince you all that I am the strongest candidate. I am sure that I am, but I am looking forward to the committee feeling likewise, and I am committed to running a strong campaign in 2022. And thank you, Rick, for giving me an opportunity to speak this morning.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions while we have Deshuna available? I guess not. Well, thank you. That was really awesome and moving. And I know that we don't have a lot of options at the moment and there's a lot of uncertainty. So thank you even for standing up, because that takes a lot of effort. And I wish you all the best success.
Thank you so much.
Woohoo. Okay. That was really our agenda. Like I said, this isn't an official meeting, so we can't officially adjourn, but if there's no more discussion topics, questions, or anything that anyone wants to discuss, I will let you all go. Awesome. So I'll send out the notes that I've taken. We have recorded this meeting as well, so I'll send that out after this meeting. And have a very great weekend. Be safe and yeah, enjoy the fall weather.